Stop hiding.
You will not become death.
No, I don't think so. I was 6.
Number 6.
See? Back to the good one.
This was actually pretty enjoyable, I will say that.
Yeah, this was like, I think it was better than 2.
It's like it learned the lessons of the problems of the previous ones that it got. It actually had a plot.
The characters are characters again.
Yeah, everybody had character arcs and motivations and stuff.
The only
And their own personalities.
only a couple of problems. One being no blue oyster,
Yeah, that's true.
and Lessard really should not have been in it. They had to bring in the police academy guys were brought in as a special team to try and defeat these criminals.
After Captain Harris fucks up again.
So they bring in Lessard. Lessard has not done field work for literally
50 years.
yeah.
At
So
least.
honestly, this is where they should have brought Mahoney back. Mahoney should have been the leader of. Should have been the person they
Yeah,
brought
but
in, and he
they
requested
could,
them.
They could get what's his face, could they?
Yeah, Steve Gutenberg didn't want to.
Well, I would blame him.
Just say the guy who plays Fackler had brilliant luck with his choosing of Police Academy films because I don't think he's in 7. So he was in 1, 2, 3, and 6. That's possible. You know, if you're gonna be in 4 Police Academy films, that is the best ones to be in.
So, I noticed this one has the least amount of homophobia of all of
Yeah.
Yeah.
all of them. No racism either. Oh, a little bit of racism.
There's always a little bit of racism.
Well, yeah.
Have you heard of New Q?
Yeah, everyone's a little bit racist.
Yeah.
And it had
Even you.
the I'm pretty sure late, but even if he's not late, the great Kenneth Mars as the mayor. Kenneth Mars, who you have probably heard in all of the fucking Land Before Time films playing Littlefoot's grandfather.
Littlefoot, go to the Great Valley.
Littlefoot, you must go.
He was also in the 1960s producers playing the part that Will Ferrell played in the modern one.
Oh, he was the Nazi?
Yeah.
I wanna be a predator.
I don't know why he suddenly went like Daffy Duck crazy at the end. That was kind of out of nowhere. I mean, he was eccentric with his model ships, but you know,
as the villain, he was intelligent and
Yeah.
semi-villainy.
Have you ever noticed everybody who does model ships, apart from Jean... No, what even happened to Jean-Luc Picard?
he goes crazy.
They go crazy.
Yeah.
Like, even he went crazy and broke his ships.
Oh yeah, that's right. When he was having Borg flashbacks.
He didn't make those ships. Those weren't model ships that he made. When he was talking about making model ships, it was the wooden ones, but those were
I
just
know.
sort of like metal models.
I know, but everybody who like, has lots of model ships in them, I'm gonna go crazy and kill people. I have model ships in my room.
I don't think I have any.
Well, you'll kill people. Not you.
Okay. Yeah, so, what did we have? We had
What would give you
Callahan
that idea?
and, well,
Callahan being slightly less chickified,
yeah. We had
Yeah,
Hooks.
Callahan being a person.
and even being a bit annoyed at people's constant sexualizing of her.
Yeah. Hooks was back, just basically being herself.
Hooks with the parking ticket was great.
That was pretty good, yeah. Hightower was more of a character this time. We had
Yeah.
more characterization.
Oh, especially with the kitty cat.
Yeah, I don't know why Lessard the Younger gave up his lucrative life in Miami to come live wherever this takes place. In metropolitan city, I don't know.
Well, he obviously goes back to Miami because he's not in 7. Yeah. 7, I really don't understand why there's so few cast members in 7, because 5 was terrible. But then they got even more back for 6, and I'm guessing because these things are made so quickly that many of them were signed before the film was scripted.
Oh, good point.
So
Yeah, they would have been in production before release.
So 6, so they must have looked at 6 and thought this is going to be the last one we're going to do, even though it came out really, really well. So I really don't know why. You would have thought people would have looked at 6 and gone, holy crap, this can be good again, and then give them more of a chance.
Oh wait, what,
Yeah,
what
it
was
would've
6
been-
on 89?
It would have been the word. Sorry.
I don't know.
It would have been filming 6 before 5 was even released, like during its release date. So they would have probably like said no to another one at that point, and then they'd already been recast by the time that 6 was released.
Well, no one got recast except for Tackleberry's wife.
No, I mean
when
like
you do
it had been started, the production with the new cast.
okay.
Yeah, that's
Because if they're
possible.
coming out every year or so, it doesn't, like, you're going to have it be an introduction of the next
Oh,
one.
so you think that the fact that 7 doesn't have many cast members is a direct reaction to set 5,
Yes.
not to 6. Okay,
Yeah.
possible. Although, I wonder why Fackler avoided on 5. Maybe he just doesn't like the sun.
Yeah, he needed work.
Or 4.
Yeah.
It's they do sort of all blend together into one homogeneous
Yeah.
mass
Yeah.
of whatever.
That happens if you watch way too much of anything with the same characters.
Over and over and over and over and over. Especially ones that whenever they replace them with suspiciously similar guys, sometimes they don't even replace them just to bring in other guys who are very similar. Because you got Mahoney, you got Nicholas Ard, and you got the guy from the 7, who are pretty much the same guy.
Interchangeable, really.
Then
Yeah.
there was the short guy who was basically Fackler in 2.
Sweet Chuck. Well, Fackler was in. Yeah, was it Fackler
Well, his
in
thing
2?
was
No, he in
his,
3.
his small, fragile limpiness. Fackler is his clueless,
Unlucky.
not unlucky, clueless
Everyone else.
slapstickery.
Yeah, everyone else is unlucky when he's there.
Yeah.
The house and high tower. Both are named after buildings.
Yeah.
Although house.
I think maybe Hightower or House was kind of like a, look, we've got a young, fat demographic. Let's try to oh, that does poorly in
Well,
focus groups.
in the previous ones they had fat guys as well, but they all tend to be white.
No, but I'm like that guy was like, oh, the young one maybe
Yeah, but he was like the fattest guy they've ever had.
to connect with like the young audience, but it didn't do well in focus groups. I don't know.
I really want. I'm gonna at some point watch an episode or 2 of Police Academy the animated series, just to try and find out where it fits in, because I know Police Academy the live action series fits in after all the films, and very few of the cast actually turn up. But the animated series had, I don't know if it had the real voice actors, but it had the characters just doing weekly half-hour shows. And I know that Zed was in it. I know Sweet Chuck was in it, and I really want to know when was it, or was it set 4, 5, 4, 4? Who knows?
Yeah.
Oh, another thing with the film, the villain really should have been Hearst, because honestly, ever since Hearst's first appearance in the first film, Chief Hearst, when he was, just casually
Seas
racist
and oceans and fields of penises.
and talking about how everyone should be
Waving in
white,
the breeze.
he really,
That would be fantastic.
he needs a villain. He needs to. It's like they've forgotten that, and they're trying to make him less disagreeable.
He's just kind of there. You know, he like adds nothing, he subtracts nothing. He's just there.
Yeah, he should have. If he was the villain, that would have been interesting. Because, his like 5th appearance and he's suddenly the baddie. It's it's nice to see Kenneth Mars though.
Yeah.
Not Kenneth Mars girl. That's very different.
Wait, what?
Kenneth Mars girl, his granddaughter.
Oh, right. Of course, that must be the way.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's how naming works.
Guess what happens whenever a Police Academy adds Ron Perlman and Christopher Lee?
Porn?
Wackiness ensues.
No, you get the worst one possible.
Oh, Christopher Lee's in it.
Yeah.
And he was in Star Wars Episode 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, but don't you think that he just waltzes into a movie thinking, I'm Christopher fucking Lee, bitches, does what he does, and then like leaves like a summer storm?
But Michael Gambon does.
Oh, that's true.
Is he guys?
She's lost coherence of any type.
Well, yeah, we've been at this for. Honestly, we've had little breaks to do these vlogs. We went off to get some food a couple of
And
times.
see a kitten.
But
And
still, we've been at this for basically,
13 hours.
Just
Yeah.
maybe
at least.
the sun has waxed and waned before our eyes.
This is why we only do these every 5-6 months at
Because
most.
it's so long and I'm not in shot at all. Hello. It's so
You
difficult.
give your whole part of the vlog like this. And we're getting up tomorrow to go to the sea.
Well, no, to go to something that God made because it made him happy, because he likes hexagons, even though 6 is an unholy number.
God made natural wonders, so we would go and spend money in the gift shop.
Giant's Causeway.
My kid voice is not as
How the Giant's Causeway was made. There was a giant named Finn McCool.
Which doesn't that sound like everybody's first, RPG character?
Or if you're
My
Irish,
fighter's name is Finn McCool.
or
and
if
he's
you're
also a
Irish, his
multiplex
name
player.
is Fionn McCool. But Finn McCool, big lad from Antrim County, County Antrim, best place in the world. Finn McCool had mates with a giant.
I'm just laughing because she's laughing. I'm sorry.
With the giant in Scotland, and they decided, alright, mate. And they're like, aye, lad, let's build a bridge. So they got all these rocks, and the way they beat them off each other to build the bridge made them all funny shapes and stack up. And it was like a road, and it was made with all these hexagon tiles. And then they had a big disagreement whenever the Scottish one tried to feel up Finn's wife, because he's a cunt like that, and he doesn't understand monogamy.
Now, see, this part wasn't in the National Museum at Scotland. This is like a tale that's all new.
And then Finn McCool, the Scottish giant, got in a big fight.
Finn McCool is the Irish giant.
Finn McCool is a Northern Irish Julian or whatever he's called.
So he knows how to make a Molotov cocktail.
Yeah, but they were not throwing petrol bombs because there wasn't enough petrol. You see,
I see.
they were throwing clods of earth, and Finn McCool picked up what is now Loch Ness, and he threw it, and it landed in the middle of the Irish Sea and became the Isle of Man. And then they got so pissed off that they started hammering away at the bridge and made all the tiles go to different levels and the middle part of it sink. And that's why you've got the start and end of the Giant's Causeway in Ireland and Scotland.
If anyone,
You'd think that somebody would have used the Giants against the Romans.
if anyone has never, if anyone only knows about the Giant's Causeway through its appearance in Hellboy 2: The Golden Army, that makes no sense because it was portrayed in Hellboy 2 as a field.
It's a big mountain of hexagon-shaped rocks.
Yeah, it's basically, you ever seen the start of Led Zeppelin's House of the Holy? The cover, that's it.
Well, no, because the Olympic opening ceremonies, when they cut to simulcasts of children's choirs in all the countries of the UK, there was a children's choir like on the Giant's Causeway singing whatever your national anthem is. I saw this. Oh, it must be the Giant's Causeway.
The British one, that would be God Save the Queen.
No, there was like a specific song for you guys.
Oh, for Northern Ireland?
Yeah, they were singing in Northern Ireland. I don't know. I
There
forget.
are Northern Irish songs that aren't really sectarian and wouldn't be better at the Olympics.
Yeah, we have to look into this to
It was
find
a-
out what song it
Yeah.
was.
You know what? I downloaded, although I don't have it on this phone, but I did download the soundtrack for the Olympics. I'll look when I get home.
Okay, that'd be
Or if
cool.
anyone knows, write the show.
Because Northern Ireland technically doesn't have a national anthem.
Well, they were singing the one that was different from Scotland.
Okay, that's fine. Well, Scotland's probably
And I would
singing-
recognize God Save the Queen because it's God Bless America as well.
Oh no, it would have been the Irish one, because Northern Ireland would have come on to the UK in the Olympics, so it was the Irish.
No, they're talking about the intro for the Olympics, so it would be part of the UK's sort of, showing off the country part.
And I
Alright,
wonder
okay.
how they let those little kids stand out there and get sprayed by waves. But
There's got to be like some sort of song. It might
You're
be
in
like
Northern Ireland, kids are disposable.
It might be Land of Hope and Glory.
it's like it's still farm times. You better have 15 because the cholera will take 12.
But 6
6
is good.
6.
I've never seen a film series go from so fucking
Good,
bad to so
Okay,
fucking
shitter. Alright. Amazing.
yeah. It's like I've never seen a film series go from so bad to so good so late in its run. It's quite amusing, really.
It's like a
Well,
parabola or a
Star Trek
a
films.
sine wave.
Well, it's not really quite as late because there's 12 of them. But yeah, you're right. 5 and 6 in Star Trek is a good example of that. It's like that, but with more Kenneth Mars. And there was a laser bit.
There was a laser.
There was Garrett Graham, who I think it was called Garrett Graham. He was in Chopping Mall and he was in Star Trek Voyager and he got Gary Graham maybe. Him and Tackleberry totally wanted to have gay sex.
Everybody wants to have gay sex secretly.
And then they had the one of the greatest moments in a Police Academy movie, whenever Jones pretends to be the Terminator.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
no, that was good.
that was amazing.
Okay, Jones got knocked over and he into this big sort of cupboard thing. Oh, sorry, this chest.
Well, no, he was on big warehousing shelves. The guy knocked them down.
That was the word. And he put some metal things onto his chest, a bunch of wires coming out into a big claw, and pretended to be the Terminator. The guy freaked out his opponent who had already defeated him, and then enough to knock him out, and then tie him up. It was wonderful. Unfortunately, it came right after they dropped a bunch of metal on top of Hightower, so we got a completely unironic, unfunny
And the metal
Terminator Roman rip-off bit.
And the metal, like, very much looked like styrofoam. Just saying.
Yeah, so it was like, we're going to just totally do a Terminator type thing, unironically and uncomedically, and then we're going to replace it with a Terminator parody. It's not good.
Yep. And we had like all main members of the team had their they're equal on the bad gang. Like there was the strong guy,
Hightower
martial
had
arts
a big
guy.
long drag, a lumberjack.
and they're a weapons guy.
Yeah, so the three of the big ones got them. Well, there was a guy who could do lots of noises.
The robot.
Yeah. But then all the other ones who aren't in the main group, you know, Hooks and Callahan, and all, they got to fight off like rioters and stuff. Because again, there's rioters. It's just they were missing a trick in not having Holling from Northern Exposure turn up again.
He could have. This would have been perfect for him.
Yeah, or even some of Zed's guys or whatever. I don't know.
He goes wherever unrest bids him.
Yeah. Never named.
Whenever people need him most, he is there.
Yeah, there must be a dearth of crime in Sicily, Alaska.
I'm lost.
You ever seen Northern Exposure?
Exposure.
No, I just forgot to listen.
Early 90s classic piece of American TV.
It's about this New York City doctor who goes. I forget if he gets stationed there or he goes there of his own volition.
He gets a loan from the U.S. government, and in return, the U.S. government can basically send him anywhere they want for 5 years.
Right, so he ends up in this tiny little Alaskan town.
He was promised he'd be in Anchorage, and he was like, okay, and he signed on to that, but then they sent him up to North Alaska, where everyone's quirky.
Yeah, very quirky.
I like quirky people.
And
It was a good show. I mean,
Yeah, wasn't always perfect, but it was good. It was interesting. And it had one of the first American TV sort of portrayals of a gay couple. I think they actually had an unofficial gay wedding there.
Did you ever see a town called Eureka?
haven't
I
seen
remember
it yet,
hearing
but I
about
know
it. I never saw
I
it.
wish I don't watch it.
But yeah, No Exposure is good, and
Police
Your
Academy
Admiral
6 is good.
Yes,
Yeah, so
James Marsters was in an episode of Northern Exposure.
Was he?
Yeah, before he was Spike. He played a priest.
Cool.
So yeah.
so there that was, and we'll be back in another hour and a half, I'm sure, for number 7.
Oh boy. This
Then-
one, the stories are true. I have attempted to write a script for a Hagen review of Police Academy 7. I got it for a third of the way through and I gave up. So, I might go back to it sometime, but holy shit.
That was the first time we met in Belfast. I hope you take notes for it.
Yeah, yeah.
We had to watch it on my little laptop, and the sound was so quality was so bad I couldn't hear half of what was being said.
You didn't want to hear it.
I've never seen Police Academy 7.
Now you'll finally be able to understand the punchline to Police Academy Marathon, the short I did. You know, please help me, hello operator, please help me find the fucking joke in Police Academy 7.
Right. Well,
So, go back.
Violent Fury. If they're all dead, when we come back, you'll know why.
I'm not easy to kill.
Yeah, and I can't
Yeah.
die in this country. You'd have to involve the consulate and everything.